So I decided that I wanted to make some homemade tortellinis, and I was looking everywhere online, and it is the hardest thing to find a filling recipe that doesn't use ricotta cheese, or just a filling recipe in general is very difficult. So I am winging it and making my own. If it works, then maybe the next person who's searching for one doesn't have the problem that I had. So what I'm starting with is 2 cups of cheddar, a half a cup of mozzarella. This is a half a cup of Colby, and about 13 ounces of spinach. And over there is a teaspoon of pepper. And this is just for the filling part. So we'll see how this works out all together. So I melted my first initial ingredients for a minute in the microwave, and I didn't like the consistency that it came out. So here I've added another 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese and a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, I added another 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese and a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and I put it in the microwave for a minute, then stirred it, then I put it back in for another minute, and this is what I've gotten. This is more the consistency I was going for, because now I could take the spoon and I can drop it into the middle of the tortellini pasta and fold it over. And it tastes like spinach with cheese. My husband won't taste it right now because it resembles
Stop.
It resembles baby.
Doesn't.
Baby poop.
Does not. I don't know what you're talking about.
You can hear him in the background. But he won't taste it because we just changed a dirty diaper. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator right now so I can make the pasta, and then we'll be back. Now it's time to make the pasta. So I'm going to do it in a food processor since my mother-in-law got me Cuisinart for Christmas. I have 3 cups of flour there, 2 large eggs, a teaspoon of olive oil, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I already put it in the flour. And I also put 3 tablespoons of water in my little bowl here with the oil. And I get to use this handy dandy new toy to make my pasta. I put apparently this is the dough hook. So I'm using that one, but I'll show you the next step in a minute. Okay, so I whisked all the wet ingredients, the olive oil, the water, and the eggs here in my bowl, and I already have my flour in my food processor, and apparently you're supposed to add the wet to the dry and have it constantly spinning. So let's try this one-handed here, and then just turn it on. It's mixing there in it. Can you see better from the top? So I'm going to pulse it a little bit. Try to mix it up. Let me try and get the spatula and get some of the dry off the walls, and move it to the center. 1 second. So I used the spatula to get some of it off the wall, and it still looks really dry. Not quite sure how long we have to mix this for, but it said it's supposed to pull away from the wall. So I guess we'll see. I can't wait to use this food processor making baby food though. Since I blew the motor out on my blender. You should probably not use a blender making your food. A food processor is a much better idea. It looks like it might be getting a little firmer. I'm going to take the spatula to it again and get some of it off the walls and see what the consistency is now. Okay, if you look at this, this does not look like dough. So, I don't know how that person, well maybe, it's just very crumbly. So, I think I'm going to just make it my own, like I do to every single recipe I ever make. I'm going to try to add maybe another egg. If I ruin it, I ruin it, and I will just make another batch, I guess. But that to me does not look like it's going to work. Okay, so I went and got on the internet and I stumbled upon another site, and they said that you're supposed to use 3 eggs per 2 cups of flour. So what I've mixed up here in this bowl is an egg and a 1/4 cup of water, and hopefully that makes this mess look more like pasta. So I'm just going to add it back in. Oh, it definitely looks like it's getting firmer now. This is good. Oh, looks like I might have dough. Okay, I think I'm going to, oh, that definitely looks like a dough ball. So I'm going to turn this off. Awesome. So that first recipe I got was way off base. That is dough. Oh, sticky, sticky dough. So let me set up for the next step and then I'll get back to you. So for my next step, I put flour on the counter here, floured my rolling pin. I have my dough ball and my cup because you have to make circles, and apparently you're supposed to only use half of this at a time so you don't dry it out rolling it in all the flour. So we will see what happens. So now I've rolled out my dough. It's about this thick. Who knows? This is my first time if that's the right thickness. And then I took my cup and I made little circle imprints because that's the shape you're supposed to make the tortellini in. And I will finish out this dough and then I'll come back when it's time to fill them. And rolling out dough by hand really sucks, so I recommend having a pasta roller or something because this is a lot of work. I'll be back. So my next step was to take my little circles here, and I took some of my filling, as you could see in this one, just not a whole lot. Put it in the middle here, and then I took some egg to rub it on the edges around right here so that I could fold over the pasta and it would stick like this. And then I used As you can see, it didn't work very well on this one. Maybe I didn't squish hard enough. But I used it again for the edges, which apparently that's the shape of tortellinis. I think I made them a little big, but we'll see if they taste good. That's all that matters, right? So I've made just one batch of these tortellinis, and yeah, they turned out okay. We'll see how they taste. I wouldn't say that this was my favorite thing to do ever. So unless they taste fabulous, I'm probably not going to try and attempt this again. But the price is right. I did have everything here for really cheap, so that works. But we'll see how it tastes in the meal. Okay, for the next step, I have cut up about 5 ounces of pepperoni into smaller pieces like that. I have a cup of onion. I have the tortellinis that I made earlier. And I have about 3.5 cups of chicken broth. So I'm going to start cooking the soup. And we're going to put the pepperoni and the onion into the pot and cook until the onion is soft and the pepperoni cooks a little bit. This is all an experiment, so we'll see how it tastes. So my pepperoni and onion have been sauteing in the pot here, and some of the fat did come out. You can see it there at the bottom. It's kind of greasy looking, but it smells really good. So this is either going to be a big waste of time recipe or a really tasty recipe. So I am now pouring my chicken broth into the pot here, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. Then once it comes to a boil, I will add my tortellini and cook that. I really hope this turns out. So I just added my tortellini into my soup mixture, and I can see where it would be better to use more chicken broth because my pasta really isn't going to float when it's done cooking. So for next time, I will maybe use another cup. Who knows? Who knows how it's going to turn out? But cooking the pasta will be harder to tell if it's done because I go by when it raises to the top. So we will see what happens. So this is the finished product. I poked the pasta with a knife to see if it was done because I didn't have a whole lot of chicken broth in it. So I'm really hoping the noodles are done. I guess Michael will tell me. I can see through the noodles some, and I could see the spinach inside. But it's definitely very interesting. The pepperoni and the pasta and the light sauce. It smells delicious, but we'll see. What did you just see?
I started with the pepperoni and the sauce. Delicious.
You might want to break that in half. It's probably...
No, it's fine. I'm a man. I can handle it.
Oh my goodness. Did you get any pepperoni with that pasta? Get the cat out of the way.
Pasta's done.
Okay.
It's good.
Don't lie.
No, it's really good.
What do you taste?
I can taste the cheese.
Is it enough cheese or too much cheese?
I think it's enough. Maybe a little more.
More cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will say more cheese, less pasta.
Okay, I did it by rolling pin, remember?
Well, that's fine. No, it's good. It's really good.
Would you eat it again?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, how about 3 days in a row? I'm just kidding! Alright, well, apparently this recipe works. So use all that free pepperoni.